Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to our podcast, Game Changers in Higher Education. And today we're going to have a discussion with Patrick Genest. And Patrick is the Director of Food and Conference and Card Services at the University of Ottawa in Canada. And we had the opportunity to work with Patrick to help develop a master plan, look at all the retail, food services, the housing, the res life, student life on campus. And Patrick has certainly exhibited those qualities that we believe are important in Game Changers, vision, commitment to follow through, and maybe most importantly, the courage of those convictions. As hopefully Patrick will share with us how some of the political winds were blowing throughout this entire process. But I'd like everybody to welcome Patrick. Patrick, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, David.
So Patrick, tell us a little bit about your campus, and certainly a lot has happened that you've kind of implemented and overseen and experienced over the past 2 or 3 years. But can you tell us a little bit about kind of what it was like, and then as we worked through the master plan, what some of the issues were, and really most importantly, what it's been like since then for your students and these different political perspectives, be it student life or housing or admissions and so forth?
Yeah, so we're a downtown campus. We're located in the downtown core of Ottawa, and we had a declining balance sort of retail model on our campus, and that was the way it's always been for many years. And we have one major provider on campus with a few independents. So the major provider does about 85% of the business on campus here. A lot of dissatisfied students, I guess, would say, with the retail model of always going out there and, spending everything and managing every dime that they have to spend throughout the semester, and then managing their money through the end of the semester when they only had a set amount of money, and then pay, upwards of $13, $14, $15 for lunch or dinner, and just the overall offering what we had here on campus and the facilities we had dated back to sort of 1970, 80. So that was our model we had. Our student satisfaction scores were pretty low. When we looked at the national surveys, food services was probably ranking around 35% overall satisfaction in the national surveys. Our on-campus scores were probably rating around 52% overall satisfaction. So we had a ways to go, unfortunately. So we teamed up with you, David, in 2014 to work on our master plan. So did surveys, the focus groups, met with students and all the stakeholders. And as you know, David, some of the stakeholders are for and quite a few against.
I remember back then you had all voluntary meal plans, and I remember interviewing a young lady who was the president, I think, of the Student Federation. And she was pretty adamant that she wanted nothing, or she'd lead a charge against anything to do with any kind of mandatory meal plans and really any significant changes. And I think your folks in housing kind of felt the same way.
Yeah, exactly. The director of housing thought that, the occupancy rate would go down in housing. We had our liaison officer who does recruiting externally who says, Ottawa U being an optional meal plan campus was a selling point for the campus.
Right.
Which we didn't kind of believe, and everybody thought, that our actual University of Ottawa attendance would go down because of mandatory meal plans. So people wanted the change, didn't want the mandatory meal plans, and people were just kind of sitting there going, that's not going to work. There's a lot of naysayers. I think it was when we did the master plan of the campus and we told people this is what we're going to do, it's a bit like telling people I'm going to sell you the shiny red car, pay me now and I'll show it to you in a year. It would be a great car, but I think in the end, the product we've delivered now has really swayed people. I now have the director of housing the other day who was talking about adding a dining hall into one of the new residences in a few years. I was like, wow, this has come full circle.
Let's just put it out there. So what you did do is you implemented 24/7 anytime dining with new meal plans. And so the meal plans, instead of being declining balance, permitted the students to have literally unlimited access to pretty much a full menu variety and selection 24/7 in your student center.
Yeah, exactly. So we spent about $5.5 million. We built a 700-seat dining hall. We renovated our old retail food court to a more state-of-the-art modern facility.
Right.
We have 5-day meal plans, 7-day meal plans, and some pay-as-you-go meal plans for the commuters. And we have block plans for students also, and that's been really well received. I mean, if you look at our numbers, our anticipated numbers are probably about 25 to 30% over what we had projected.
Wow.
I think we've sold about almost 500 optional meal plans above what was expected, and another about 300 commuter plans also to students, and about another 200 block plans to students. We expect that to grow next year also.
And I know that you did decide to make mandatory meal plans for the resident students. Has there been any pushback on that?
No, actually, been no pushback. Even last year was our first year. We did get a bit of pushback because people didn't know what they're getting. So all the people saw was boarded up windows and plywood and couldn't see the location. But as now this year we've done, we had an open house a few weeks ago. We did about 700 people in tours that day, future students and parents. And people were like, "Oh my God, like this is such." Parents saying like, "This is so different than when I went to college or university."
Right.
So I mean, we've had this year with our meal plans and housing, and people get to choose a 5 or 7 day. We've had no questions and no pushback whatsoever. Once people see the facility and know it's 24/7, and people are happy, and if I look at our survey scores, we had a survey in housing a few weeks ago, and if we looked at our old hours of operation from the housing survey, 45% were happy with the hours. This year it's 92%. Now that other 8%, I don't know what they're not happy with, other than maybe getting 8 more hours a day. But other than that, I think we're pretty good. The survey scores have really come back. We've done an on-campus survey. We've done a housing survey. Our end-of-program survey with students who are graduating has gone up. If we look at just that end-of-program survey, our overall satisfaction scores, and that's all the students who are graduating, were 31%. Overall satisfaction this year is 54%, so up 23%.
Wow. Congratulations.
So it's been good. There's no bad PR to this actually.
I get a lot of questions from clients and prospective clients about what's the level of business activity like in 24/7, like up until midnight or after midnight. What have you experienced on campus in Ottawa?
So we're busy till at least 3 o'clock in the morning. We're almost doing 100 students an hour after midnight.
Wow.
I mean, our quietest day part is the breakfast, which we only do 12%, and 16% come overnight. So we get more people overnight, and students on a different time clock than you and I. Well, maybe not you, David. I've seen you here at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've been here with you.
You've both been there at 3 o'clock.
But like it's been a game changer. Students like to go there. We even get the 1201 club on Sunday nights when their 5-day meal plan kicks in at midnight on Sunday. We get about 300 people to come in at that time. So
yeah, I've been there at 12:01 on Sunday night. So your lobby fills up, and the lines go out the door at midnight or 12:01, technically Monday morning. And what do you serve? 300-400 students between 12 and 1 or 1:30?
Yeah, 300 people on average.
That's crazy.
So it's been really like students like the area. I mean, we've had an influx of, we've got more cash payers than we expected. We were expecting 3 or 4% cash payers. Since we're not in residence, we're doing 21% cash payers. So we've had an influx of students using the facility also. And even our other facilities on campus, we'd expected our retail sales will go down, maybe up to 20%, but they've only gone down about 4 or 5%. So that means we had an issue with seating, dining areas. I mean, we were under capacity, that's for sure. So
didn't you share with me? I mean, wasn't there some big number, like almost 800 or 1,000 cash-paying students that would pay the door rate to get into this venue on a couple of days after you open?
Oh yeah, we were getting Sundays. I think we were getting upwards of up to almost 1,200 students who would pay cash to come in on Sundays in the peak days.
In addition to the meal plan holders.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
So it's on average now, it kind of peaked and it's come down. It peaks during exam periods if people want to use the facility also more and stay and study. But yeah, we're doing a lot of cash payers above and beyond meal plan sales also. Right. It's beyond our expectations. Let's put it that way.
That's awesome. So tell us, how has it changed we always talk about student success, and I know you were very concerned about that too, but how does it change kind of the the student engagement. You know, we always talk about how we want to organize dining to create richer levels of student engagement, socially, more connections. Do you see more students hanging out, studying, socializing in this venue throughout these day periods?
I used to, in our old retail food court, I used to see people come in, grab their food in a to-go box, get on their phones, go back to their dorm rooms, and be on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and that's all we saw as people in and out. Now we see people coming in, sitting for an hour or two with their friends, socializing. We do events now with housing also in the dining hall. So events are being held for the meal plan holders also as part of our programming. We do theme days. We do fine dining days also. So, I mean, I see people there on a regular basis. We almost get to know students on a name-by-name basis because we're in there also. So we see the regular students are in there also, and it's people are staying there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours studying and just socializing.
Yeah, I know. When I was in there kind of on those overnights over the weekend, I don't know that there was a table that didn't have a computer or two or three plugged into the outlet in the booth or on the wall where the kids just had their work spread out and, they were probably had eaten, but it was like a learning commons almost.
Yeah, we had it was such a busy place. We had our challenges of capacity. We reached capacity a few times before Christmas where we had to actually throttle back the cash bears or turn people away. Nice problem to have. Creates more problems, but I mean, I think that's a nice problem to have. Lineups and overcapacity when you just build a facility, it's kind of a nice problem to have also.
I would say so. It beats the alternative. So what about faculty and staff? Have they found this venue more appealing? Are they using it more, or how have they responded to this new?
Faculty and staff also come to the facilities. They find the value proposition is there for them also. Uh-huh. We see a lot of profs in there and working groups with teachers and students together. I guess they tend to use it a little bit less during peak periods because it's jam-packed with students, right?
Right.
So we're getting into May. Now we're going to be open for the summer and for breakfast and lunch, and we'll see their usage probably go up over the summer months now.
Oh, great.
So I think it's been, I see people on a regular basis. We have groups from the campus coming here for breakfast every Friday morning, a group of 15 or 20. So we have the faculties and the staff and the services coming in there doing, team breakfast, team lunch in there.
I remember, changing gears a little bit here, I remember when we were on campus after you had begun the process of presenting the new concepts to the different constituent groups around campus. And I remember, I think you shared with me that it was presented to the folks in admissions and the group of people that went out to the high schools to recruit students in Canada to come to the University of Ottawa. And I think you said when it was explained that you can have the 24/7 and the unlimited access, your recruitment team, most of them stood up and cheered or applauded. What has been the effect of anything of recruitment? I mean, have you noticed a difference with recruitment on campus? Has the 24/7 played any kind of role in that?
Well, I think it's a bonus add-on for students to come to the University of Ottawa. Our recruitment team now says, this is a selling feature for the university.
Right.
Like we lure students in with that, and it's additional added value to their plan to come to the University of Ottawa having 24/7 dining space. And as much as people are saying recruitment's going to go down, they use it as a recruiting tool now.
Sure.
So, and we see parents come in here and do the tours and go I want my kid to eat here. I want to be in here. I want to get him access. I'm going to buy him a 7-day or a 5-day. It's really, when we do tours, we did 700 tours a few weeks ago, and not one person talked to me about the price or talked to anybody from my staff about the price of the meal plan. Wow. So nobody balked at saying, oh, no, it's this much money. People were like, I want to buy my kid a plan. I want to get him a plan.
And with the parents, obviously there's the availability of food 24/7 as part of the meal plan, but does anybody ever comment about the fact, or do you get a sense that they're pleased that the campus has provided a venue, a safe, wholesome place on campus for their sons and daughters to at least have that option to go to at the University of Ottawa that kind of affords this kind of value along with food?
Yeah, of course. People ask me, when we tell them we're open 24/7, they're like, 24/7, like which days? I'm like, no, every day. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's not a few certain days.
7 days a month, 7 days a week.
I said we open long weekend in September and we close in December, the last day of school. And people were like, well, when do you close? I'm like, we don't close.
Right.
That's what the thought behind 24/7 is.
Right.
I mean, so they know that their sons or daughter can come in there and just have a coffee or dessert or a salad at 3 a.m. or just come in and study with some friends.
Right.
It's a nice, safe area, and I think people enjoy it now.
Yeah, that's certainly what I witnessed too. So tell us about housing now. I mean, obviously before, housing probably, to say it mildly, wasn't the biggest supporter of this idea or mandatory meal plans. How do they feel now regarding this program and how it affects the value of, because now anybody that lives in housing has to buy a meal plan on campus, or most people. So
anybody in housing, yeah.
So what's their perspective now about all this?
They just see it now as an added value to housing, right? They just say, oh my God, this is like a bonus for students to come in here, and the availability of being in an unlimited plan and coming in when you want, and has been a great value for students and a selling feature for housing. I don't think people, like I said, nobody complained about anything last time about the pricing or which residents they're going into, and just the sheer of, even in our first year we sold about 500 optional meal plans more than expected.
Yep.
I mean, it's been a selling feature for people, and people just want to get in.
Right,
we expect that that's going to grow by another at least 10% next year, and we're going to have capacity issues probably earlier than we think, but nice problem to have.
Good problem to have.
We opened in September. I think we'll be doing our 950,000 swiping of the dining hall in 8 months, so nice problem to have.
950,000 swipes.
We'll be doing $1 million in September, so I think we're figuring out the first 2 weeks of September will be our 1,000th client.
Congratulations.
And out of that, there's going to be 165,000 cash payers.
Holy camole. Well, tell me. Go ahead.
It'll be like 16.5% in the end. We do it over the years, about 16.5% cash payers now, as we even out. So
it really is for everybody. This isn't just for resident students. It's for resident students, but it's for, certainly you're getting quite a bit of business from non-resident students, commuter students that come in and pay the door rate too. So it doesn't kind of exclude anybody. It includes everybody.
It's all inclusive, and then the thing is, if you have a block plan or a commuter plan or a meal plan, then you get express access, right? You get an express lane to get in. The only bad point of being a cash payer is when there's capacity, you got to wait at the door, right?
Right.
Almost like a full restaurant, you got to wait. So, I mean, we've had a few uproars about people having to wait, but I'm like, it's like when you go to the restaurant. When it's full, you got to wait.
Well, it's like the Disneyland of food services at University of Ottawa. You have to stand in line for 3 hours to get it because it's so good and so popular.
Or you can buy the express pass, right, at Disney and get it.
Hey, so tell me, I've heard you've received a few awards. Can you tell us about your awards?
So yeah, we a few awards. It's been all good. I mean, we received the Ottawa President's Service Excellence Award for this project and how it has been a game changer for students on campus and how our satisfaction scores have kind of gone through the roof in all the surveys we've done. So we're receiving that award this Friday from the President. We also won an award last week at the National Association of Campus Card Users for our app that we use, our integration with Tapingo and our supplier ITC with our One Card. We built an app for our students with dietary restrictions. We believe that students who are on a mandatory meal plan and have dietary restrictions, that we can serve them better than anybody else. So we built an allergy-free kitchen down in our main kitchen, and meals are prepared for them ahead of time. And we retherm them in our rationale ovens, and they get a hot meal, and they can eat with their friends at the same time. They're not excluded from the meal plan. So we try to serve our students with meal plans. Even though it's a small percentage, I think we make it an all-inclusive approach for students. So we won an award for being a sort of all-inclusive sort of school with dining that you can eat with your friends and you're not excluded from the whole plan, right?
Right.
So a student has an allergy, he's always felt like they get excluded. They have to go to make their own food or can't get on the meal plan or can't go to the dining hall because of their allergies. But we supply those meals to them on a made-to-order or ready-made-to-order and retherm for them. So it's been students who've been on that plan have used the app and say, for them it's been a game changer also. They don't have to cook, they have their meals ready. There's a bit more planning to do because you have to order your meals ahead of time because you need to know and what you're ordering, but they can eat with their friends at the same time. That for them, some students will say, just that has helped me through my schooling and not having to make my own meals and and worry about all those allergens and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's been really good. So we received that award last Tuesday in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's great. So you've implemented your new 24/7 anytime dining. You had unprecedented levels of participation from resident students, non-resident students, faculty, and staff. Your satisfaction scores are at an all-time high. You're receiving all these awards. So what are you going to do next? What are you going to do now? What would you like to? How would you like to build on this in the coming months and years on your campus?
So right now our master plan is supposed to go till 2020, I think, David, or something like that, or 2022.
Yep.
We're supposed to build the dining hall for 2016. We delivered it in 2015. And then we talked about building another location on campus. We're actually building another $5 million retail location with 400 seats in the center of the campus.
Right.
That actually started construction the summer we're delivering the dining hall, so it's actually going to be delivered in January 2018. So we'll have executed our full master plan in under 3 years, 3.5 years.
Wow.
So I think people have seen the success in that now and kind of believe in what we're doing also.
That's
I think it's been a big game changer, and people are now looking at dining as really part of the whole experience on campus, not just in the academic side, but people know that the social interaction outside of the academic classroom is part of the whole student experience also.
Good.
And people see that now.
That's fantastic. Well, congratulations on all your success, Patrick. Any other thoughts or experiences you'd like to share with everybody?
I think it's been an overall great success. I think success creates other challenges also, like capacity issues and we can't build things fast enough. It's been a resounding success, that we're 25 to 30% more than projected. On our financial side has been not a godsend, but it's a good thing for everybody. We reinvest back in student services. Students are happy with the facilities. I even had a student who sat at a town hall before we built the dining hall, who was against it and came up to me one day in the dining hall in September last year and said, you probably don't remember me because there's 200 people complaining, but I'm so glad you guys did this. Overall, nobody has come back and said, we should have never done this,
right,
and this is a bad thing. Everybody's just happy we did it.
Right.
We've received really no bad comments other than capacity issues and people waiting at the door. But those are manageable problems. And when you have those problems and people complaining that it's too busy, I think it's a good problem to have.
I would say so. So what would you say? I still, almost on a weekly basis meet with administrators who say, David, we've heard about the 24/7 or the anytime dining till midnight, or, is it really that good? It's really ultimately, probably it can't. How come more people aren't doing it? Why don't we just stick with a program that resembles, the kind of traditional hours of operation? Why should we make such a big change? And there's a lot of skepticism there and probably a lot of fear of the unknown. What words of wisdom or advice could you give to those folks that are considering it, but that skepticism factor is kind of weighing heavy on them?
I think today's students, you have to look at what their needs are,
right,
the way they work, the way they study, and their time clocks. I think you got to look at traditional board plans now where you get, X amount of meals per week and you have to manage the meals, and then people look at that saying, I get 19 meals a week, but, you reset the clock to 0 on Sunday, I get 19 more meals. Students see that as a cash grab or a rip-off,
yep,
unfortunately. And I'm not saying it's bad, but, students see it that way. The community, the declining balance plans, some schools have a use it or lose it approach. The students say, again, you're taking my money, or I have to pay for everything every time I buy something. I think that unlimited dining, people just see it now as like, I can come in and eat as many times as I want, and people get skeptical about that. But people don't necessarily eat more. Students don't, people started talking not about the freshman 15, but the freshman 50. But I think when people look at it and say, I can come in there and just have a salad, and we see the difference when a meal plan holder comes in and just had a salad or a coffee, and people actually eat less, I think, and they like what they're getting. And we have a dining hall committee of students also, and really the support from them has been overwhelming. They've been really positive about it. And even the president of the Residents Association sat there and said, we'd like to see a few changes. We're pretty well happy with everything. It's our first year of operation there, and we're learning through what we do. But I would think that 24/7 is a great thing for students. If we're busy till 3 a.m., it gives you an idea of what that really is. And the students, people say, people aren't coming in. I'm like, look, the stats, they talk for themselves. We're doing 100 people an hour after midnight till 3 o'clock in the morning. You really get a lull between maybe 3:30 and 6:30,
Right.
but it's not even worth shutting down between 3:30 and 6:30.
Right.
I think it's been all good, just been positive comments.
Well, again, Patrick, congratulations on your success. You're a professional, truly a game changer in terms of, your courage and having the courage of your convictions, because there was an enormous amount of negative political winds early on, which now completely are blowing in exactly the opposite direction. So we've really appreciated the opportunity to work for you, and I want to thank you for sharing this with all of our people who logged on today to view this podcast. And if anybody would like any more information about Patrick's program and what he's doing, you can contact Patrick directly at the University of Ottawa, or you can contact Josh Lazarus in our office. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, David.